All right, guys. Hello and welcome to our very first Harrisburg Overwatch show match against Penn State. My name is Puns and Buns, and I come from South Jersey, so I'm so excited to be here. And I'm joined by the very wonderful Chad, the director of the esports here. How you doing today, Chad?
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm super happy to finally get this show match up and started, and I'm really curious to see how it goes. It's going to be an exciting match.
Absolutely. We have some great players on both sides. Harrisburg University recently had some changes to their, not just their players, but their staffing, most specifically their coach, who comes from the Philadelphia Fusion.
Yep, so for those of you that are unfamiliar with the Philadelphia Fusion, they are a professional Overwatch team based out of Philadelphia. And from there, we had a former player who played for the Philadelphia Fusion in their inaugural season, and that's Joe Meister. And now he is the head coach for Overwatch, and he is actually going to be participating in the show match from afar, and he'll be able to help out.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to see how the team has really, gone and progressed. I was actually out here not too long ago for Hugh Fest, where the Harrisburg team did extremely well, making it all the way to the finals, but we don't have to continue on about that.
That's all right. That's all right. Oh, the personal tech. No, that's all right. I think even coming in second place in a big tournament like that, actually, it makes you want to do better, So like getting first, it's easy to be like at the top of the world, but I think placing second in a match like that means so much. It makes you want to do better. Like players were sad, players were upset, but it gives you that drive to want to continue.
And it was really down to the wire. I mean, we're talking three best of 5 matches down to the last map, 1-1 on control. It couldn't have been closer.
Well, that's what makes it the most fun.
Yeah.
Like, we had people that didn't know anything about Overwatch, and they were so excited. They could feel the energy, they could feel the casters, they could feel everything. And that's one of the best parts about watching Overwatch is that it's so quick paced, it changes constantly, and people are just so excited to be watching, and I absolutely love it.
And don't worry, for those of you who are here and you don't necessarily know exactly what goes on in Overwatch, or this is your first time kind of being at an esports event, me and Chad will be here every step of the way showing you exactly what's going on and kind of bring you into this whole new world that, is happening all over colleges.
Yep, so it looks like we're about to get started very soon. We'll be hopping into the first map, and we're going into control map, which is...
It's going to be Nepal. Now, let me real quick, as we go in here, and people make their, their selections of their heroes, we're going to talk a little bit about each map type. Now, control. This is a very specific map type. There is one objective, and that is to take control of the main objective. And by doing that, you would have to stand there and be the only one there for I would say about 5 seconds, I believe.
Yep, so the circle in the middle where you see the letter A, that circle will light up, and as it's being highlighted a color, either blue or red in this case, you'll see that one team is taking over the point. If there are 2 different people from 2 different teams inside of that point, then it won't do anything until one of them leaves or dies in respawn.
Now, the thing about control that's really interesting is that the rest of the map types are a little bit more attack and defense, but in this map type, you actually have to play both angles. You have to be the aggressor in order to take over the point, but after you've taken control, now you're the defender. You have a team that's trying to come there and take your space, so you're going to have to hold it all the way up into 100%, which we'll see takes a little bit of time.
So as we're looking at the team comp, do they rush immediately into the point right away, or do they kind of skirt around the side of the point to see if they can get a catch on somebody, or what's either team looking to do here?
It all depends on what they're running. So on the side of Hugh Storm, they're running triple tanks, triple support, and on the side of Penn State, they seem to have a little bit of an interesting comp with a Torbjorn involved. They must have been watching Overwatch League the other night with the friends, the view. So that's a very interesting selection there. But right now you'll see that 3 tanks, 3 supports is kind of a powerhouse. It pushes through, and the whole goal is to keep your tank line up as they take that space. And take that space they did as Hugh Storm just pushes forward and slowly but surely cleans up Penn State and sends them back to their spawn room.
All right, so as we have that happening, that means that HU Storm has taken over the point. As you can see, the blue number going up from 10%. Once they reach 100%, that would be a win. However, what are we going to see as Penn State tries to come back, or what will we see from the Storm as they try and hold the other team out of the point?
So you're going to see them cycle through their ultimates, which you can see that the percentages are going up, and their goal is to make sure that they always have something on lock, just like that slam coming from Retina, knocking down 4 of them, and they're going to be able to clean that up right there. So it's just exactly that, using just enough, not too much, and still having some ultimates to come back and keep it up. So they're going to be meeting them right as they come in because they have the advantage.
And as you can see from the 3 check marks that the Storm still has, and Zarya, Brigitte, and Zenyatta, even just the Diva ult that just came up, they're going to have so much to be able to continue to hold off Penn State.
Absolutely, and Penn State has been making a lot of swaps here, so they don't have a whole lot of ult charge to come in. The Diva Bomb comes in, but it wasn't even necessary as they're already wiped. They just swung right in and cleaned them up, and that is the reason why 3 and 3, it just works.
it's going to be so rough too with the Lucio ult coming up too, that they have 3 more ultimates to hold off once again, so they're doing a great job layering that, not committing too much to wiping Penn State as they come up. Penn State's going to need to either save their ult charge or do something there because they're not able to push through this triple tank lineup.
So right now, the ideal situation for them is to get a shatter off before the supports can put out their ultimate. But the Salveri comes in from Ramil and tries to keep their team up a little bit. And Zamiak gets caught in a charge, but Kodama pays his life for it. Tatsuya is also going to fall. There's the tank line. There goes Sujo and Ramil. And they're going to have to try and just touch the point and hold the point. They're on there. They get a little bit close to taking that point, but unfortunately, Q-Storm's going to meet them there, and they're going to be able to hold this one 99-0.
Yep, so you can see at the very top there was a little yellow bar that said overtime. Can you explain a little bit more about what that overtime bar meant?
Now, overtime is only initiated if there is somebody on the attacking side, on the objective, holding it. Now, if you manage to wipe out anyone and they can't touch that point within those last 3 seconds, that doesn't initiate the overtime. But overtime will continue to go until the opposing team is entirely off the point. Now they can use this to take over the point, push the point, depending on what type of map type it is, but the longer they're on there, the shorter the amount of time the overtime will have. So if you finish them off and they've been on there for about a minute, you've got about 1 second before that overtime ends.
All right, so what map are we entering now as things unlock?
We are still in Nepal because it's a best of 3 when you do control, but we are now in Sanctum, a very fun map where there is a giant hole in the middle, so you're going to see a lot of play trying to get those environmental kills to pull out, but oh man, Kodama is going to be a little bit aggressive with that whiz, so they're going to push in, and oh, Fantastic finds Retina. They're being very aggressive right now. Joshua is going to be D-mexed now, not going to have that mech that Diva needs to keep himself up. Fantastic falling. There goes one of the supports. But Penn State is a powerhouse right now as they're just going around cleaning up. The barrage comes in from Hobbs and he finds Tetsuya and he mechs. Joshua pays for it with his life with a boop from Ramil. This is going neck and neck, but it looks like Q-Storm takes the advantage as they had more picks there, and they're going to be the ones to take the point first.
It was looking tough at the very beginning for the HU Storm, but after the Pharah flew up and managed to pick a couple people off and then follow up with that huge barrage, it seemed to clean up very, very well. So we see the blue team with the 12% leading up, and now Penn State's going to have to decide how they want to get back to the point.
Absolutely. They really only have that rally, which they're going to use right now, but no, it's gone! Tatsuya goes down, Hobbs catches her out alone, and they're going to have to disengage here because they don't have that extra support to keep them up. But is Joshua going to pay his mech for that? Can't get out with the mech, so Joshua needs to either re-mech or jump off the edge, so he's going to get that mech back, and that's exactly what he does. Jumps off the edge, they're going to regroup and spawn, and it's about 40%, so they've spent a lot of time trying to break through this wall that is Q-Storm.
And now you're going to see them trying to push out a spawn, and it's in a dangerous position because they know Q-Storm is exactly where they're going to be coming from, so they're going to try and find a way around, but it's going to be pretty tough, especially getting picked off, and with the Storm having 3 ultimates that you can tell by the blue check marks in the upper left corner.
You may not have caught it, but that was a great play from Kodama, but unfortunately wasn't able to really give them any sort of leeway. He jumped up as that Diva self-destruct came out and bubbled it. Very high-skilled maneuver, but unfortunately wasn't enough to really give them any sort of leeway here. And Q-Storm is they're just a wall. They just say, hey, listen, this is our territory. You came to our house, and you're going to have to fight us if you want to get onto that point. This Transcendence comes out from Fantastic, going to try and keep his team up here. Joshua catches Retina with that bomb, and they're going to be able to clean up a little bit here. There's nobody on the Observer, so I'm going to roll over and try and take over the Observer while we're hanging out here. So Penn State captures the point.
And as you can see, the red team is now controlled over the point, and they have starting up from 0%. And don't be fooled, it is actually very common for it to be able to go from 0 to 95. And now it's Penn State's turn to try and defend the point, see if they can choke out the HU Storm from making it their way. You can see HU Storm coming in right now, trying to make a big move through the doorway, but they're broken off by the Winston bubble. And now they're coming in, and somebody's looking for a pick, and they can't seem to get anything, but Retina starts off and picks off Ramil and Lucio. And then a huge Diva Bomb coming out from Smoothie to able to pick off 3. And now they're pushing into the point to see if they can push off Joshua off the point, who's demeched, and the HU Storm have managed to take over the point again, cap it, and it seems as though they will be able to hit 100 and be able to clean up the second one.
Yeah, that's your ideal Diva Bomb right there, catching a bunch of people off guard, just like he did. So they were able to hold it for 2 points right there. But you know what? Penn State just didn't hand it to them. They fought pretty hard. They actually managed to cap the point towards the end there. We have Hobbs getting to play the game on Brigitte. Let's see how this goes. I think we're gonna see the rally initiate and just mayhem swing here. Nope, not even a rally, just swinging into the grab. So very fun gameplay right there. So we're gonna be going into the next map, which I do not have my phone on me, but it is hybrid. We're going to be going to King's Row. We're going to be going to the United Kingdom for this one.
So we have a 3.5-minute break in between maps, but we can talk a little bit about what King's Row is and what it looks like and what we'll be seeing as we go into the next map from there.
Absolutely. King's Row is what's referred to as a hybrid map. You have 2 types of objective. First, you have to capture a point, just like we just saw, but you only have to do it as the attacker. So you capture that point, and then a payload comes out, and then your new goal is to take that payload and push it through the map.
So what kind of tactics do you think are common to see in King's Row? Is it different than other hybrid maps, or what are you looking to do? Let's just say from offense specifically, pushing out of the point. Are you rushing the point right away? Do you take a little bit of time and try and delay it? Or what's the most common strategy for something like that?
It's honestly right now, in this meta, which if you don't know what meta is, that's what the current state of the game is. 3 tanks, 3 supports. That is the way to go. You're going to see a lot of, as we refer to it, as goats, but a lot of different variations now. You'll see Ryan, Zarya, Diva, and a variation of support line, or sometimes Winston instead of a Ryan because you want to be able to take that high round like they have on King's Row.
So it's almost interesting to see, like, if you know the other team will be playing this comp that seems to be so dominant, what can you do? Are there any common ways to set up against it? Is there any way to predict that you know that they're going to do that? What can the defensive team do on that side then?
It honestly all depends on the map. A great game to reference was when the Fusion played the Spitfire the other night, which for those who are just tuning in or just learning about the Overwatch League, that's the Fusion is Philly's team, Spitfire is London's team, and when they were on Volskaya, they, instead of running 3 tanks, 3 supports, ran 1 tank, which was Hammond, 4 DPS, and a support, which is, you would think would be crazy, but it worked. They were able to push through and take it very quickly.
That's pretty crazy, though. With the 4 DPS, was it just that they managed to DPS the characters down so fast that they couldn't even respond to it because they weren't prepared for the 4 DPS comp, or was it just something else completely?
When you think of the map like Volskaya, which unfortunately we can't see here right now, but for those of you who do know, it's very diverse. There's a lot of high ground, there's a lot of space, so when you have multiple DPS, you're able to really take advantage of the fact that the tanks really need to stay together, and you can catch them, you can't protect from all sides.
There's only so many options that you can pick. Is it ever popular to create like a feint, like you're pretending to go on one side and show one character and then you go a different direction? Or is it just hard commit to a strategy and hope that they don't know which one it is?
Well, very commonly you'll see somebody pick Sombra in the very beginning so they can go invisible and check out what the other team has going on. So sometimes people may pick some troll characters, like they'll stand in the front of their spawn as Torb, Cement, Symmetra and kind of like, trick the team, and a lot of times to mess with broadcasters like you and me to kind of
to make our job nice and easy,
But the Sombra can scout out and figure out what the best play is. So as a defender, you're at a disadvantage because they have the closer spawn and can actually go ahead and make those changes that they need.
So we'll be going into Kings Row right now, starting up the second map, and I'm curious to see what the compositions coming out will be.
Yeah, I think Penn State, I was talking to them a little bit. I'm pretty close with the guys, I've been, following their program for a bit. They're here to have a good time because, they don't have the same advantages with their program, but they are very skilled players. So, when they were at QFest, they made it pretty far. Some people even refer to them as the second wind of QFest, just being a team of good players without any major coaching or anything to go through and just move through that bracket.
Absolutely, and it's a big deal to be able to, the difference between being a club and being a varsity program, to have that support and to be able to have a coach like Joe Meister to be able to help you with those strategies and to get better over time. So it's something that I'm very much looking forward to see how Penn State progresses. They did well at QFest, and just them being a part of the show match today is awesome, and we're looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Absolutely, and I think we have another match with them coming up very soon, too.
We do. 2 weeks from now, we'll be having a Fusion show match where we'll be playing against Penn State and then having a Fusion watch party if you enjoy the Overwatch League and the Philadelphia Fusion.
Hello.
Absolutely. You got to support those Fusion boys out in L.A., but we're going to be getting into it about 10 seconds in, so it looks like they're going to be committing to a Risa Zarya, and, they got a Bastion on defense, too, so they're going to be... It's still triple tank, but only 2 supports and 1 DPS. On the side of Penn State, they're going to be running that triple tank, but with a Hammond instead of a D.Va. Let's see if they're going to be able to really take it to ground, but they're pushing forward really quickly, pushing that Reinhardt back. Meta gets caught in a charge. He's going to be swung. He's going to be down. Bionic Grenade comes out onto Tatsuya. Not enough to take him, but Smoothie's going to be cleaning up, catching Joshua, catching Fantastic, and catching Sujo, because that push was super aggressive, but unfortunately, they weren't able to capitalize too much, only catching, really only, I think, 1 pick there, so they are definitely a force to be reckoned with, but I think they went in the wrong direction.
They committed very, very hard, and it seemed like after they committed and picked off Retina on Reinhardt, it seemed as though Bastion was able to just pick up too much afterwards. So we're going to see what Penn State decides to do with their second push. It doesn't seem we have a swap on to D.Va away from Hammond, so we'll see if they're able to do the same thing, but on the second push coming up here.
Now, D.Va's very important of a switch here because with Hammond's great with disruption. You can go into the air and pile driver down and push everybody up, but Bastion is kind of held down. He can't really do much to a Bastion, so D.Va with defense matrix can stop a lot of that damage coming in, but quickly gets DMAC'd by Hobbs, and the defense is really strong here, so they're going to be holding on to a lot of ultimates. I don't think I've seen them spend too many. Tatsuya still has the rally, so Penn State's getting their ultimates a little slower, but they're going to be getting them even slower if they keep on making these changes like they're making them.
So you see Tatsuya swapped off from his ultimate that he had on Brigitte over to Farah Mercy, so they're going to be doing the Pharmacy, which is basically 2 characters flying up in the air supporting each other while the Farah tries to do damage from above. So you'll see that them pushing there, but they're not going to have the ultimates here. And you see the HU Storm is about to have almost 6 check marks for their ultimates.
Yeah, I think you're going to be seeing the Bastion go into tank configuration. No! Bastion gets called out by Kodama, but it doesn't matter as Kodama and Sujo go down. So Joshua's going to be out with the Bunny Blaster trying to get a little bit of damage to get that mech back, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He might be able to get back to spawn if he's lucky, and it looks like luck was not in his favor today as Swishu finds him. But that's okay, so he's going to be coming back with his mech and about 50% on his ult charge.
So if you're Penn State and you're looking to make another push, are you saving up your percent for your ultimate to try and coordinate them all, or what are you doing? What can you do to try and push past the line?
Unfortunately, they're in a bit of a sticky situation here. So with all the switches that they've been making, they kind of moved away a little bit from a good ult economy. But their goal should be to use ultimates in response to other ultimates. As we just saw there, I believe we saw a grab come out, so did the Transcendence, which keeps the team alive, but it can only do it for so long as we see the team get wiped there. So that was only really 1 defensive ultimate.
However, what I really like from Penn State here is that they held on to their pharmacy ults. So you see that, and you see the Genji getting up there. So this might finally be a push that can be successful because they only have Lucio ult on the side of the HU Storm, and I'm really looking to see Penn State utilize that right now.
So they're going to have to use the element of surprise here to get that barrage off and hopefully take out that Bastion. But the defense matrix comes out, but it doesn't matter because the barrage comes out, takes out Smoody. The blade comes out as well, but Sujo's not able to find anybody. Biotic Grenade trades with their counterpart. Fantastic going to be falling now, and Kodama's going to be just about done. And while a great push, not enough to take that point, and unfortunately they're not going to have a whole lot of ultimates other than Nano to come online, so maybe they can use that Nano boost, which gives a huge buff to a character to farm up an ultimate, but it's looking grim as Hugh Storm still has 3 ults and 1 on lock. Oh, the grab to the spawn! No! They're going to be holding them back there. Insomniac falls, though. They do catch a support, but it doesn't matter as more fall, and they're just going to try and initiate overtime as yeah, it was kind of a wing and a prayer with that Diva Bomb there.
So you can see as the time runs down to 0, overtime works in the same way, where somebody needs to be in the point from Penn State in order to contest it. And if nobody is there, the game will end, as we can see the overtime bar coming to a close and the HU Storm picking up the first round. So what happens on the second round?
So since Penn State was not able to take any percentage on that point, all Hugh Storm has to do is take 1 tick, 1/3 of the percentage of that first point. They do not need to push.
So we'll see the circle light up, and if they're able to get 1/3 of that first circle, that means that they have enough to take the map.
Absolutely. So we got about 30 seconds here as they start to make their decisions here. One of the things Penn State, does is that they made a lot of switches because, when you're facing Hugh Storm, who has a very, solid front. They've been getting coached. They know these comps back and forth. You got to really dig into your brain to figure out what you're going to do to solve these problems, like having Bastion and Triple Tank on the other team.
So we'll have to see what they decide comp-wise coming in and go from there. It seems that they're still assembling, and here we go. We finally have it put in now, and it seems like we have a I bet you that Torbjorn's going to be changed. The players just love to mess around with us like that.
Oh yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing that for too long, but what we probably will be seeing is what some people refer to as floats. It's Winston, Zarya, and Diva, which is great for being able to maneuver around that high ground. But let's see how it goes. Maybe I think that we're going to see that Bastion still, so it's going to be able to burst through. Smoody, he's been doing this for a while. I know he's a very high-ranked player, so I imagine his tracking's pretty good, so that's going to be a very difficult thing to evade.
I'm curious to see, though, because this is Bastion on offense, correct?
Oh, yeah. This is Bastion on offense. They're going to have Insomniac boosting them out. I don't know exactly where they plan on setting up here. It looks like maybe they're going to go through the high ground on the top right? Or are they going to be on low? I think, yeah, they're going to be going to the high ground.
Going back up to the high ground?
Oh, and they have the May, so I think they're going to wall this off so that they can set up without punishment. No, they're going all the way. They're going to go back to where they were earlier. They were like, wow, that was a great plan earlier. Worked on defense. Why not on offense? They're going to take that same space up there. And look, you have the 2 shields. Unfortunately, Retina fell down, but you also have the May there kind of like putting up the walls, maneuvering them around. So let's see if this is going to be punished. Huge Biotic Grenade coming out. That's 3. Biotic Grenade means that they won't be able to heal, but it seems like they're going to survive this one. Ramil is going to be pushing around Arisa a little bit here, and that was a very interesting offense, and interesting must also mean worse. So they managed to take that with relative ease.
Yeah, so you're taking a risk when you do something like that. It definitely will catch people by surprise, and sometimes coming out of the gate you'll see that, where you'll see some teams decide to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, it goes back to that old strategy in poker, whereas if you can't play against somebody who doesn't necessarily know what's going to happen, so I think Hugh Storm didn't necessarily know what they were doing with that. They were just like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's see if it works. And I think it did. It went through very well. So our next map is going to be an assault map. That's going to be Hanamura. So we're going to give them about 3-4-ish minutes to get themselves situated.
Actually, we'll be swapping over to a 10-minute break specifically after this second map, and the rest of the ones will be 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So we will be taking a small break on the casting side, and we will see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Puns and Buns, and I'm here with Chad, the director of the esports program here at Harrisburg, and we're going to be getting right into the map here. We are in Hanamura. It's called 2CP or Assault, which means that there's actually 2 points that they have to capture. Now, we did a little bit of swapping at halftime, so Huestorm is now going to be the attackers first this time around, so that's going to change a little bit of the dynamic of how they've been playing the game.
Yep, so right now the first point that you'll see is the one you're looking at right now. Coming inside that first building will be the point that they try and control. And we're going to see HU Storm trying to push that. I'm curious to see what composition they're going to break out and if they're just going to rush right into the point and how Penn State can defend that.
Yeah, it looks like, oh man, that Hammond and quad DPS, are we going to see it? Is
that what you were mentioning beforehand? Is this what we're seeing? Are we seeing a repeat?
It's it seems to be something that people do on attack more than anything on assault maps. But we'll see. Like I said, people like to mess with the broadcasters a little bit. They like to pick heroes that they're not necessarily going to use. But aside of Penn State, they don't really have a lot of time to mess around because they're the defense. They have to go ahead and set up as soon as they can because right now they have about 5 seconds before the match starts here. So they opted in for a very interesting setup too. I think they got 2 supports, 2 tanks, and 2 DPS. That's the old 2-2-2.
Yep, I'm curious to see how the my block people off, and if Bash is just going to be setting up behind the Orisa shield, as we see right now, just pushing them off. So mostly it's going to be a little bit of chip damage at the beginning, I feel like.
Yeah, that's the thing about Orisa is that there's not a whole lot of mobility to that defense. So once they push forward and knock you away from there, you have a little bit of a cooldown before you can put another shield up. Swish Shoe out here clicking heads, but it's not so much Swish Shoe as Psalms coming in on Farah and just cleaning up, and that was an extremely fast first point.
We see Farah and just Sombra cleaning up there on the side, where it seems like I don't know if they were distracted and they didn't see them coming around or what the deal was, but they were able to clean up pretty quickly on that first point, which is why you see the number 1 on red right now as they move over to the second point in Hanamura, which is inside the palace.
Penn State going to be opting in for that floats right there, that 3 tanks, 3 supports, and that's exactly the reason why you use it. You can push away characters like Widowmaker, characters like Sombra, and it's working as they're starting to kind of chip away at their attack here. Insomniac gets the res out onto Retina on that Torbjorn, but they have a solid defense. This is, they're kind of holding well here, so I think we're going to see some changes from Huestorm. I don't think they're going to be running the same thing that they ran on the attack on first point.
Now, after grabbing the first point pretty quickly, it doesn't seem to be, but I feel like they're also going to try and use their ultimates before doing so, because they have 4 that they could use. They're probably going to try and get rid of them, see if they can't get something from that, and then go from there, depending on it.
Yeah, you see Insomniac dropping the Valkyrie right now, and it's really not only just to keep his team up, but to damage boost as well. Oh, Joshua manages to defense matrix as much as that as he can, but Ramil's still going to be falling here, and there's a bit of trading back and forth here. Moancore comes out, covers point 2 here, and they still hold. They hold strong. Fantastic catching too.
So it seems like Penn State's able to make a big hold right here, and it's pushing them out of the point. Do you think that we'll see the HU Storm try and swap off now that they use their ultimates?
Absolutely. Composition is everything. You already see hops onto that Brigitte, and when your DPS hops onto Brigitte, they're gonna go good. So they're gonna go 3 tanks, 3 supports. There's very few times that a DPS will pick Brig out of choice.
And we see the swap off here from HU Storm. You can tell in the top right corner from all of the numbers typically that are at a low percent. That means that a lot of people have probably swapped off or just used their ultimates. But in this case, we see swaps onto Zarya, Diva, Brigitte, Reinhardt, and we're seeing pretty much a full comp swap.
The only real difference between these 2 compositions is you have the Reinhardt on the side of HU Storm. So they're going to aim to really just push through as aggressively as they can because they don't have that same high ground maneuverability that Penn State has. So Hobbs coming in, getting some swings out onto the enemy Brigitte. Bubble comes out, it just stops that damage from that Diva Bomb here. Primal Rage coming in, Kodama swinging, he's angry, he's mad, gonna be taking some space here. Sound Barrier coming on the side of Penn State, trying to keep his team up, but the Ghost is strong here. They get caught in the grab. Swish, you gonna fall, but D-Max Joshua very quickly, but Penn State getting trickled away here. Manages to catch Retina before falling, and I think we're going to see a bit of a stagger composition with the Doomfist and the Hammond if they can even touch point.
Is it a full cap? We're getting so close, and there's the contest. You can see Penn State coming in with the Hammond real fast to try and make sure that they don't cap that point, and Penn State needs to do their best to push HU Storm out right now, because if they don't, they will be capping this point.
Diva Bomb comes out and catches Joshua, and Tatsui's going to be caught by Retina right now, so it's Hammonds on both sides, and all they can really do is to hope to try and stagger themselves off onto this point enough, but that's not enough. Kadama isn't able to use his ability to jump on the point, and that's going to be HU Storm taking both points with about, I think, 5 minutes on the clock if my internal clock suits me correctly. No!
So talk a little bit about the time remaining. Why is the time remaining how much it is right now at that 3 minutes and 48 seconds?
So your goal in Assault is to take both points as fast as you can. When you have 4 minutes to capture the first point. After you capture the first point, an additional 4 minutes is added. Now, after you capture both points, the enemy team has a chance to capture both as well. One of the reasons why players aren't too keen on Assault maps is that this can go on very long because both teams can continuously cap back and forth until the game's... I've seen it where the server shuts down because the game has gone on too long.
And sometimes they usually take, it feels like the max amount of time to cap those points too. So they just gets to the point where you'll be on an Assault map and it will go for so long.
Interesting point about Assault. If you capture the point with under a minute on the clock, and the enemy team also captures it with under a minute on the clock, both teams are given a minute. If you have more time on the clock, the differential is added onto the time. So you'll never start, if you cap it with 1 second on the clock, you'll still get that full minute to go ahead and push. But if there's no time on the clock, the enemy team only needs to capture 1 tick in order to either win it, or if you can't capture that last tick, it'll be a draw.
It definitely rewards you for trying to cap it as quick as possible because it gives you so much time to go for that second point, and it allows you to create a whole bunch of different setups that can work. So it's okay if you miss that first or second push, which we saw from the HU Storm. They didn't successfully push in right away, but it seems as though Penn State is opting for a similar strategy with the Orisa on the top as HU is looking to push in.
Yeah, it looks like they don't have that Bastion though, instead of opting to have themselves a Ashe, a very new character. Yeah, one of the biggest things about Ashe is being able to use that ultimate, and his name is called Bob, and he comes out to the point, he can stall the point, and he's pretty much a mobile turret. But their defense is working very firmly right here. Hobbs going to be catching Joshua out, but Smoothie getting DMAC'd by the Lucio, the aggressive Lucio there. But unfortunately, he pays for it with his life as Diva clips him right in the head with that Bunny Blaster.
So as you can tell by the circle on A, you see it was almost capped. They ran it at just the perfect time, as was probably planned, to make sure that they weren't able to cap all three and have to stay on point one. And now Penn State's going to be forced to capture that last third of a sliver, but they're going to have to do it pushing through this hallway. And as you can see, there are a lot of projectiles coming down that hallway right now.
Definitely a spam-heavy comp, and you have that Bob ready on the side of HU Storm, and Insomniac with the Valkyrie, so that Bob's going to be up there for a while. A lot of ultimates on deck, so now they also have the Transcendence, so they're going to have that defensive ult. Not a whole lot of ults on the side of Penn State, though, so all they can do is hope to farm some ults here as HU Storm commits nothing, wins that dry fight, and now they're going to be holding firm. This is still an ideal situation, though, for Penn State. If they manage to take this point with very little damage themselves, keeping their whole team in, they can do what's called snowballing and go ahead and push right through, because all they need is enough time to capture one tick.
So it's interesting to see because Penn State doesn't have any of their ultimates up yet, and the people that were closest have been picked off, so you're probably going to see a reset here where you're going to be looking for the three ults coming up between Lucio, Zyra, and Moira.
Yeah, so Lucio being knocked out early is huge because he's not able to speed the team through that choke and push through that Orisa barrier, so they're going to have to wait for him to come back. As you see now, he's going to amp right through the point. They're going to be pushing the sound barrier coming in preemptively, giving them some chance to put in some real damage here. Sujo gets his grab eaten by Spoody, so there's going to be no value out of that huge tire coming from Hobbs, and an even Greater Bob coming in to finish it off.
Oh, you can just see an absolute cleanup by the HU Storm, able to use 4 or 5 of their ultimates there, and eating that grab up is so big because what it does is it clumps everybody up into that 1 point so you can get them down, and unfortunately they weren't able to do that here. So Penn State is in a rough position and are going to have to try something pretty fancy or pretty cheeky to get by on this first point.
So all they have that they have their self-destruct online. They have Kodama with that Primal Rage, so ideally he can get in with that Primal Rage and hopefully put some pressure onto Psalms to get him to commit that Transcendence so they can do something like try to aim for another grab or put a lot of damage out there. You already see Kodama moving in, trying to bait out the Transcendence, but he doesn't have a chance to. Taken down by Retina, the main tank takes down the main tank, and they're going to be pushing through forward. They have about a minute on the clock to come up with some kind of answer. They still have Primal Rage, they still have the self-destruct, but they don't have a lot of ultimates on deck. But on the side of HU Storm, you still have Bob, you have Tyre coming up, and you have a Bongo, which is Orisa's ultimate, which is just really a damage boost, and you also have Psalms with that Transcendence, which was not baited out. So this is a great wall that they have to face right now.
And you're going to see Penn State only has 30 seconds to try and make something happen, so they're going to absolutely have to try and run in here and force it as quickly as possible. But Swish manages to pick off Sujo on the same character as they're having a duel. And you know, it used to be called Widow duels, but now you get some Ash duels from time to time.
All right, they're going to have to rotate without their Ash. They have about 10 seconds to even touch the point. They're going to push forward here. Here comes the damage boost from Orisa, dropping her ultimate here. Tyre comes out, going to be able to catch Ramil. Red has his Bongo taken out by Kodama with the Primal Rage, pushing around, knocking people around. He knocks Swishu's Bob off the point, but Penn State drops 3, not able to survive here. Fantastic's going to be off the map, and that's going to be it for Penn State's push here as HU Storm takes map 3.
Hanamura taken.
We're going to be going into our 4th map after a very short break, which I believe our 4th map is going to be an escort map called Dorado.
And escort sounds pretty straightforward, but what is escort all about?
Just like we saw on Kings Row, well, we didn't see it on Kings Row because the point never got pushed out, but escort is very simple. You have one payload that you have to push from point A to B to C. Now, there is no way that you can actually tie an escort map, unless you never touch the point, of course, but that's not going to happen. So your goal is to get to push the point either as far as you can or to push it to the end more times than your opponent. Just like 2CP, you can see this go on for a while, but typically you don't, because usually with the way the time bank works, you're going to see the point eventually fall somewhere between point 2 and point 3 eventually.
So also what we're going to be doing is we'll be going through a hard 5 maps, which usually in Overwatch League, for example, it might be something like best of 5, but in this case we're going to be having all 5 maps regardless of the score, so we'll be running those 5, and then afterwards we're also going to be doing a little bit of a bonus show match fun part where we're going to be doing a team deathmatch style game where the players get to have fun, and instead of thinking too much about the composition of their team, they're going to get to play whatever they want. They're just going to try and go after each other, so it should be pretty fun to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, you have these players who, on the side of Harrisburg, they're here. I believe that they do have full rights to go to Harrisburg.
They do.
For collegiate esports. But the thing about esports, it is about the fun. You're playing a video game. You're doing what you love. And, like, yes, you're taking that time to scrim. You're taking that time to watch VODs. And sometimes it feels like work. But at the end of the day, the reason you do it, it's not for the paycheck. It's not for well, maybe for the glory, but honestly, you'd start doing it because you enjoy playing video games. And it's awesome that Harrisburg gives these opportunities to these players from all around the U.S. to come here and not only just learn, but to do what they love.
Absolutely. And I love that at the very beginning, before all of these varsity programs, which have only been around for 5 or 6 years at this point, is that, clubs popped up because students were passionate. They were going to school, they were doing well in school, they wanted to play games, and they wanted to play games with other people who wanted to do the same thing. And that's why it's so cool to see people get together. And for example, Penn State, who is a club, and wants to work towards that, but they're able to do things like this show match. They're able to go to tournaments. They're able to go to Hugh Festival. They're able to play online in leagues. And I really like the dedication that comes from even clubs, because sometimes as a club, it's really hard to put in that time and effort when you don't have as many resources to use.
Absolutely. TESPA, the program itself, was actually developed in Texas. It was a coalition between different colleges in Texas that just wanted to play against each other. They wanted an opportunity to learn and, have fun and, compete against each other. And from there, it just grew and grew into being picked up by Blizzard, and now it's their own games that they're using throughout the TESPA program. And the fact that Blizzard is also taking their time and their energy into funding these programs is really awesome too.
And that's a very, very big deal, which is to have game developer support like that and be able to say, hey, we want to have these collegiate leagues. We want everybody in the nation to be a part of it. We don't care how big your school is or how small your school is. As long as you have a club that can get the people together or a varsity program, we're happy for you to be a part of it. And you just see hundreds and hundreds of colleges participating in it, and it's just awesome to see all the different regions come together and all the different schools that you get to play. And this show match is a good example of setting up that pace.
And just in case you're out there watching and you're going to maybe a community college or a smaller college and you're wondering how you can get involved, TESPA is actually available for any college of any size. So even if you just have a couple of friends who like playing esports, get them together, join the TESPA program, and you'll still have these opportunities to play against awesome schools like Harrisburg University.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to look forward to it because TESPA is in season right now, and we're competing, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later as we go into our fourth map, our escort map on Dorado.
Absolutely. So Hugh Storm is also going to be starting on attack here, so they're going to be pushing forward on Dorado, and their goal, as I said earlier, is to get to point C. They have to push through to different points, and as they hit each checkpoint, more time is going to be allocated to the clock. Now, if Penn State comes in with a great defense, depending on where they hold it, that's the only spot where they actually have to push the point to. So it all depends on whether or not they can push forward and take them off the point. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can play escort. You can play very close to the payload, making sure that you can push people off, or you can play aggressively, take as much space as you can, which is typically what you see. We're going to have a quick pause here because it seems as if someone dropped out. So we're going to go ahead and just pause that real quick.
So while we wait on the HU Storm other player to just jump in real quick, the truck that you saw at the very beginning, that's the payload. So if you're pushing the payload, you have to have a character standing close to it, otherwise the payload won't be going anywhere.
Absolutely. We're like I said, we're just waiting for that player to get back, and that's the wonderful thing about LAN. We could just walk over and
this is the best part. Online tournaments, when it comes to something like that, it's very bad because if they aren't all playing in the same area, if they aren't doing anything like that, it's the worst trying to figure out whose internet it is or what's going on in that regard. But thankfully, when you're having a LAN show match like this, it's very easy just to pop up, make sure that the other person's good to go, and unless all 11 people or 12 people are having a problem, which in this case is not the case, so it's something that can be happening pretty quick. So thankfully, we'll get that popped in and we'll be ready to go here in a little bit. But going in Dorado and being able to push that point, it's interesting to see what comps can come out and what teams want to be aggressive about it and what teams want to clump up on the payload and try and get it as fast as possible.
We're gonna be taking a 2-minute pause here, but while we have that time to talk, why don't you tell me a little bit more about the program at Harrisburg University?
So real quick, actually, to announce what the 2-minute break is for, we're having a substitution come in. So we're having Vinpin come in, and he'll be replacing Insomniac, and he'll be playing on Dorado for the fourth map. So you will be seeing a new HU Storm player playing in for the rest of the maps, more than likely. So that's what the sub is for. We're just getting them set up on keyboard, mouse, that sort of thing, and then we'll be hopping right back in the next 2 minutes.
Sounds good to me. All great players on the side of Harrisburg University. Very excited to see Vinpin again. Insomniac's actually a new pickup for Harrisburg University just this TESPA season, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, absolutely. So we actually did recruiting both in the fall semester of 2018 and spring of 2019, and that's something that's a little different because usually most schools will try and pick up students in the fall because it's a little bit easier. Summer, you have a little bit more time to recruit and do things like that. But we decided we wanted to try and do both and let students know that they can come 2 or 3 times a year to try out. And we try and make that as open as possible for any students that are interested.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you kind of newer to Overwatch, as we said earlier, some of the names on Hugh Storm have been in Overwatch for a while. Insomniac himself specifically was on the team Phase 2, which is in Contenders Trials right now, was open playoffs. But last Contender season was in Contenders as Congerna.
Yep. So what's really cool is to see is that you will see players from the amateur leagues, and they will actually be interested in collegiate. And Insomniac is a great example of that. And you'll find out, and you'll talk to them, and different players will have different things, but it's kind of cool to see that they'll say, you know, hey, why are you doing this? And a lot of them will say something like stability. It's stability, and being able to have a scholarship and being able to go to school and have that reliable thing is actually worth a lot, because in contenders, you never know what's going to happen. It could go amazing or it could go awful, and you never know what you're going to get.
And plus, so many schools are being, partnered with by the Overwatch League teams. Personally, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. And I think collegiate, you're going to be seeing some players from collegiate moving up into those higher leagues very soon.
And that's great. But right now, we're going to be hopping right back in with Dorado. We have Penn in for Insomniac. He is in the top right corner of your screen. And we'll see this hopping into games.
So something I want to talk about too is that if you're paying attention to the heroes that each person picks, you might notice that they're picking very specific types of heroes. So people like Psalms and Penn, they're known as support players. They're selecting characters that are specifically designed to keep their team up, whereas players like Retina and I believe Smoothie are your two tank players. So you're going to see them, pick the, very similar heroes, but in 3-3, of course, you got Hobbs, your DPS player on break.
Yep, so we have HU Storm here is pushing the truck. As you can see, the truck inches forward every once in a while. However, if anybody from Penn State, if they are near the payload, if they're near that truck will be doing absolutely nothing. And sometimes it'll even move backwards if there isn't a lot of progress made.
Just like we talked about earlier, making switches very early, you had Kodama on Tracer going in and catching shots, which is weird because Kodama's a tank player.
Hey, jack of all trades. If he swaps off and he's able to do it and pick up somebody, and it seemed to have worked at the very beginning because there wasn't a hard push. And now we see Retina on Roadhog right here trying to push Tracer off, and you see the Hammond flying over the corner with it.
Yeah, you have that quad DPS going on right now. Tracer clipping right down the head. Swishy's going to fall too, but that's a trade. That's 2-2. We have a 4v4 going on right now. Swishy gets brought up, so now it's a 5v4. Penn State with a great defense, running at that 4 DPS and that solo tank and solo support, but they're going to be pushed back here. So Psalms he's out there looking. I think he's looking to return the favor.
Yeah, so you can play your off-roll Tracer. I'm going to be doing the same thing right now, and you're going to watch me do it. So as you can see, when you're looking at Escort, if you're new to the game, the biggest thing that you want to look at is the progress bar underneath the 0-0. You see a blue bar that has 3 different little blue hashtags and a yellow hashtag underneath. That progress bar shows how far they are close to that third. So if the payload makes that first third, that's considered a point in the map, and then things change a little bit. So HU Storm is trying to push the payload to that first point, and it's not quite there yet. So we're going to see if they're able to do that.
This is definitely an interesting match. Penn State's putting up a great defense here, but it looks like HU Storm's going to be taking this slowly but surely, getting caught out by Tatsuya with a rocket to the face of the air.
And his barrage was up and everything. You could tell he was trying to set up for it, and he just got caught right out. So that's a big loss, and they're not going to be able to push up the payload off of that.
Penn State's pushing up very closely here, so they got to be careful because if you have a
they're feeling it. They're ready to go. They want it. They're out for blood. You can tell they've got 3 ultimates. Ooh, but the Hammond gets picked off along with the Soldier, and they both have their ultimates up. But Genji's going to bring out his ultimate and his giant sword to see if he can pick anything up, but to no avail. HU Storm is able to pick off a lot of them, and now you can see that they have progressed through the first point, and now they're going to be trying to get to the bar to the second third.
Yeah, I thought we might see Sujo switch because that blade seemed a little out there. There wasn't really a whole lot to follow up. I mean, they're not running an Ana, so they can't really nano that, but, maybe he was feeling it. Maybe he saw something I didn't. So he's going to be trying to farm that blade as fast as he can. There's still some great ultimates on the side of Penn State here. They're about to have Pulse Bomb on deck. Fantastic's going to be on the flank with that visor. And they have minefields to kind of level it out and take control here. Hobbs going to be in the air. Oh no, he's looking for that barrage. He's going to be catching them in the hallway. And he doesn't manage to use it because they do disengage there. I think they kind of knew what was going to happen. Fantastic gets caught out. Doesn't pop that visor, so he does get to keep it. Hobbs, he's just hanging out there. I think he's waiting for his opportunity here to kind of pop that barrage. Lots of ultimates on both sides. You're about to have Valkyrie from Penn. You have Hobbs at the barrage, and Swishy's about to get that high noon. Valkyrie comes out from Ramil, gonna be trying to get the team, keep them up here. Retina catches Ramil though, and Hobbs finally gets that barrage out, and that's gonna be 4-5 and a sweep out. And Penn State's going to have to fall back and recollect themselves.
Yep, so we see the Storm picking up the second point, and now they'll be working towards the final point of the map. However, we see Penn State, they had to use a lot of ultimates there, and to no avail, so you're going to see a couple people swapping off onto new characters, and it's going to be in a tough spot because they are not even close to having ultimates for anybody as they swap over to Brigitte. So now you see everybody, it's going to have to be a fresh defense. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, there's... One of the things about this third point is a very hard point to push forward because you have the defenders who have probably one of the best spawns in Overwatch when it comes to all the maps. EMP comes out from Smoody, catches 4, not able to follow up though. But it's okay, they catch Ramil. Sujo is going to clip Hobbs there. Hainu comes out more or less to try and zone them out. The zone them out they did and catch a Moira. While doing so, Briggs going to be caught by a barrage along with Sujo, so this payload is going to be moving a little bit nicely, but like I said earlier, they have the benefit of a very, very, very close spawn, which is exactly why Hughes Storm is going to try and take it right to their spawn door. They have a couple seconds left. Are they going to be able to touch it?
Anybody can jump in not just in time, but no, they're unable to get in fast enough. So unfortunately, Soames picking up 2 pulse bomb kills, just too clutch. Blinks in, leaves a bomb, says goodbye, love, and goes right back to the point, and able to zone him off.
2 minutes and 53 seconds. Now, as compared to 2 CP, it might not seem like a lot, but when you have to push the payload like this, that's a decent time bank to have, especially when the other team has to push it all the way regardless.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, Penn State did hold the first point pretty well, actually, for a longer time. But with that third point, without having any ultimates, it was just a little too rough, even with a favorable defense spawn. So now we're going to see, as the sides flip, what it's going to look like elsewhere.
Yeah, I think Penn State might try to run something a little cheeky like that quad DPS
we're gonna see
here.
It again. They're going to try it, and I love it. I like seeing adaptation as long as it's not what we call tilt. You know, because I know sometimes any player is possible where they can tilt, which is basically just saying, hey, let's try something different just because. But in this case, I think they might try it if they stay on Symmetra, maybe some Symmetra trees. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Maybe an East Coast special if we're lucky. For those of you who don't know, East Coast special is something that is running ladder specifically on the East Coast. Typically Symmetra and Bastion, but we don't know. They could be swapping off any second now.
You never know, but I think he's going to stick. I think they're going to stick with it. I'm expecting the East Coast cheese. So we'll see if Symmetra, who is under Kodama's name, is the person to look for here to see if they try strat. And it seems Symmetra is staying, so I'm curious to see where the port comes out and what they're going to do with it. Oh, and the swap off. There it is.
I was going to say we saw those turrets placed inside the spawn, so I figured we'd see a switch. Because there's not a whole lot a turret can do inside.
No, not much, but you never know. So I was curious to see. So Kodama switched off onto Mercy, and now they're trying to get outside of the point. But Retina, as his little Hammond ball is rolling around but he gets picked off for getting a little too close to spawn.
Had a little bit of a Highlander moment. I am the Hammond. You know?
I am flying Hammond. I am the Hammond.
But it's still a firm defense coming in, and something you'll see with escort maps very early. You'll have the advantage for the attacking team. So their spawn is very close to the escort, but as it moves forward, it evens out a little bit, and it comes to the end to an advantage for the defense. So while, yes, they're kind of holding them close to spawn, all it takes is one really good fight for Penn State to get a lot of ground here.
And here you see Hobbs going with the classic pharmacy combo, which is Penn and Hobbs going as the 2 characters that can fly in the air. So as you see, Ramiel and Kodama, or Kodama is doing something similar with Tatsuya. So as we go into that, we see how they push the payload forward out of the spawn and see if they have enough to be able to do it.
All right, you have Swishu popping that tactical visor, catching 2. Hobbs catching Joshua out there. Kodama trying to get away, but oh, fantastic, catches Hobbs in the air. Great shot out there.
And Widowmaker is just one of those characters that can just change the tide of it really quickly if you get that clutch pick off there. Widowmaker is fantastic, as you see the person with the sniper rifle on top trying to make the pick off, and it seems we're getting the payload pushed forward here as Hammond comes flying in. He's going to drop his ultimate, try and zone them out with the little bombs right there, but Swish picks up 2 as fantastic snipe Swish out.
Yeah, the EMP came out and it really benefited them. They were able to catch a few, but Fantastic doesn't care. His team's gone, but he's still going to be clipping people. But Hobbs finishes him off. But not before Fantastic catches 2. Great gameplay right there.
Yeah, so Widow pushing off 2 is actually pretty fast because the attacking spawn is so close to the payload right now. So they're actually happy to get back on it. Ooh, almost a great hook by Joshua, able to possibly get somebody off. But you can see the payload is, the bar's moving forward. They're pushing up towards that first, third marker, and they're going to try and see if they can cap it. So we'll see what HU Storm has to say. Tatsuya picks off the Sombra off the side. So HU Storm's in a rough position. Let's see if they can keep defending.
Som's in the back line trying to put a little bit of damage onto Penn State here. Swishu coming in though, doesn't need to be in the back line, taking heads left and right here, making sure, hey, look, I've got the high ground.
And you see there just Widowmaker and Tracer, 2 characters that can really do a great job at picking off people. Just managed to pick up 2 huge shots. Swish with a monster headshot. That's so you're able to pick off the Pharah, and that's just, oh, you hate to see it.
Oh no, Tracer's out here in Amish looking for a flank here. Catches a body shot that could have been dangerous, but it's okay. He knows better now. Widow is all about that line of sight, because so you'll see sometimes it doesn't matter if it's a good Widow or a bad Widow. Well, in this situation it's a good Widow, but just having the Widow there changes how you have to play. All of that area is being covered by a sniper, so you can't move without having some sort of a shield in front of you. But I mean, they're gonna try. They're running just the Hog as their tank. They don't have a main tank. They don't have anything to really stop this Widow from doing work. Fantastic getting clipped right in the dome. She could see through walls. Normally that's a cheat, but it doesn't. In this game, it's an ultimate here. Oh no! Oh, Sujo almost gets clipped there. Blinks away before being able to be caught out, but he's pushing the payload just a little bit. It's overtime. He's got to stay on so they don't lose it here. Eddie's gonna fall now.
And it's anybody close enough to stop overtime. They come flying in just in time, but HU's managed to pick off 3 and zone them off with a huge barrage, and it seems like it won't be enough. Just outside of that first point, HU Storm is able to keep them off.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some great Widow play there from Swish, but, you know, Penn State played very, very strongly in that very first defense. Like, they held them pretty well for about 2 minutes, I believe, without letting them even get much of a push, and that was on quad DPS as well.
Absolutely. So we're going to be coming in here into map 5 over the next couple of minutes, and it will be a game mode that we have seen before, right? But on a different map. So can you talk a little bit about that?
We're going to Ilios, one of my favorite maps. There's a huge amount of diversity to how this map is played. So there's 3 different types of maps. Archetypes, I guess, would be the word to use. Probably not. But anyway, so there is Ilios Ruins, Ilios Lighthouse, and Ilios Well. Ilios Lighthouse is a little bit of a hybrid between the 2 I just mentioned. There is a singular point near the edge of a cliff, but it's inside. So your goal is to take that point and not fall off to some environmentals by the enemy team. There's also the Ilios Ruins, which doesn't have a lot of environmental options here. It's more straightforward. You'll see a lot of hit scan snipers like Ash and Widow, and finally Well, which is just 1 point with a giant hole in the middle. So you'll see a lot of Roadhog gameplay, a lot of Arisa, a lot of Lucio. Lucio pretty much the whole way through. This is like a paradise for Lucio.
Oh, absolutely. And it's going to be so much fun. And as a reminder, this is our 5th map going in, but we will not be stopping after the 5th map. We will have a special kind of show match, fun match afterwards that we'll be setting up after another 3-minute break. So make sure to stay in the audience and watch that. The players will get to have a little bit of fun and mess around with each other. And we kind of like to encourage that and for them to have a good time in these sorts of things.
That's all it's about. I mean, I'm sure Penn State is having fun. I mean, it's a great learning experience too. I mean, how far away is Penn State from Harrisburg?
It's only an hour and a half, not even an hour 15 minutes. So it's pretty close, actually.
Maybe this is the beginning of some kind of rivalry. Maybe Penn State's gonna go and get themselves, I don't know, with some sort of coach or something. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna need.
I encourage it. I like that kind of stuff. You know, we talk, all the teams joke around with each other, obviously. Like, if you listen to the players talk to each other, they're like messing around. But it's really cool to develop those rivalries, to develop these kind of show matches, to basically give the community to say something like, hey, you know, I got to see Penn State play HU Storm, or HU Storm play Lebanon Valley College, or to do things like that, because it just gives them something to get behind. So, you know, it doesn't matter necessarily every time how the game goes, but sometimes just to have that consistency and say, hey, you know, are you guys down to play? And that's why Penn State, for example, will be coming back on the 28th for the Fusion show match. Is because they're great about that, and they say, hey, we want to do something similar, so let's give it a try. And I love that kind of attitude.
Absolutely, and you know, any chance to really play at LAN is I mean, it's not true LAN, unfortunately, with 0MS, but it's still like playing where you can see your opponent over there. Maybe shout a little trash talk.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I mean, that happened at Hue Festival. We had a bunch of teams, and you know, some teams they love trash talking. They'll shout, they'll yell, they'll say whatever. And then some teams, they weren't used to it. This was their first LAN. It was their first big tournament. They were like, I wasn't used to, like, are these guys, like, actually this mean? It's like, no. It's like, no, they're not that mean. It's just that's part of playing in person sometimes, and you got to get used to it, you know? Because if you talk to them off to the side when they're not in game, most of them aren't like that at all.
No.
But when you get into the game, that switch flips, and you know, some people are they love shouting, they love just making fun of each other. So it's just good to see that you can have like a friendly match like that too, and still have people joke around. That's why we want to do this sixth map as a fun map for those guys.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just sports in general, you know, to get that aggression out, get that, you know, that sort of like that energy out, like. You know, that's why it's called esports. You know, some people would argue whether or not they're actually athletes, but you know, that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, it's something that I don't want to get into right now. So as we get into that, thankfully, we have the map pop up. So we have Elios, and we have these beautiful statues that the spectator is just doing a wonderful job checking out, and we appreciate it. Really sets the scene for Ilios, you know. So we're gonna see us hopping in here in the next 20 seconds as both teams decide on what comp they want. And as a reminder, this is a control map, so that means that they're looking to control that point and get it up to 100% in order to win the map.
Absolutely, and just like I said earlier, this is Ilios Ruins, so you're going to see a lot of Widowmaker play, you're going to see a lot of Ashe play, unless they decide to go with the 3-3, which, you know, I'm a little tired of the 3. Anyone who's been watching professional Overwatch for the past year is tired of 3-3.
See, that's the great part, is that we have new people in the cinema right now watching Overwatch, and you know, 3-3 is going to be normal, so it's going to be great. So you get to experience that. But the cool part about games like Overwatch that we haven't mentioned is that they do a thing called patching every so often, usually pretty frequently, where they change the characters. Sometimes they make some stronger, sometimes they make some weaker, and that keeps the game fresh and fun. And it lets people play different things, and also introducing new characters as well.
All right, so we're seeing exactly what I said. We're seeing 3-3. The thing about this composition, now that we've seen what control looks like, the thing with this composition is that you're going to want to watch to see how the supports enable their tanks. The whole goal is to allow them to be able to push forward, take space, and put out damage. So you'll see the goal for right now for Zenyatta, who we're on, he has two abilities. He has Healing Orbs and he has Discord Orbs. So he wants to put his Discord Orb on the very front-facing tank so that they can put in a lot of damage on that tank. And he will make sure that he has his Healing Orb on either a flanker or, you know, whoever's taking the most damage in their fight. Maybe the Reinhardt if they're swinging in with a Reinhardt, or the Winston here as he's putting in damage here. So the goal is to take as much space as they can. An early bomb comes out from the side of Penn State, catches Vinpin. Hobbs gets caught out by Tetsu. A great push here. Penn State already up to 25%, pushing forward with their floats, and they're going to be pushing them pretty back pretty far. I mean, Tetsuya is he's gonna commit the primal just to finish things off here, but that means that they're not gonna have that for that next fight when Hue Storm has that on deck.
It's tough. Pushing primal there when you probably did. They did a great job at the early, capping that point and being able to push that Diva Bomb. Popping that primal, you can tell in this next play, it's probably going to be a little bit of a difference maker. And as we come in, we're going to find out right now if it is.
Grab comes in, catches two, no one there to defend them. Ramil gets caught out by the Diva Bomb, and there's going to be a primal rage of their own from Retina. Tachiya is going to fall down by Smoody, and Red is going to jump onto Joshua, push him around, take him down. Now he's out of primal. Now it's all just about trying to get rid of these stragglers back on the point, and very quickly and very efficiently they take this point, and it's going to be going to Hue Storm, but at a cost of about 65%. That was a great defense from Penn State.
Penn State putting up 2/3 of what they needed right away was actually really great, but they're going to have to figure out how to transition into this with the HE Storm having 3 ultimates ready up to use. However, they do have Zarya all coming up. They do have Brigitte. What I want to see is I don't want them to commit too hard right now. I want to see a second push right after this. See if they're able to do that, unless they want to commit real hard and possibly push a huge Diva bomb, catching 3 to 4 people at the very big and fantastic. Won't stop. He just keeps it going, and they're trying to push Penn out. HU Storm is completely wiped, and Penn State is going to be capping the point back.
Now, something I saw, I think they knew the bomb was coming in. I think they knew they couldn't defend it. You saw Penn, he could have used a sound barrier on the grab, which is typically what you do, but when you know that your team's going to be wiped like that, you don't do it. So very smart play from him. As the Primal Rage comes in from Red, he's going to push him around. Here's a grab from Hugh Storm, putting in, catching all Penn State, but they're going to be defended by that Transcendence. Great use there. Bomb coming in from Hugh Storm, and it's going to catch 2. Catches Joshua, catches Tetsuya. Sam's going to be catching Kodama out, and it goes about 95. I think we're going to see it go all the way to 99% on the side of Penn State.
Ooh,
oh,
98%, but we see another flip, and this is a great match. We've seen 3 flips already, and now we're going to see if Penn State can generate enough of their ults. Actually, nobody has an ult ready except for Somu's Transcendence coming up and Brigitte's on Pops. However, it's going to be super interesting because one flip is going to make the difference, so we're going to see if Penn State can get that push started.
I think we're going to see Kodama engage early, trying to bait out that Transcendence from Psalms. They're going to commit the rally, trying to keep him up, but unfortunately, Sujo is going to fall. So they're going to have to fall back now because they're not going to be able to bait that out. So a valiant try, but unfortunately, you know.
And you see from Zone's checkmark up there in the corner, they still have Transcendence, so it's going to be a tough push. However, you see Penn State coming up with Primal Rage, and Zarya's all coming up as well. However, they just need to wait on Diva and Zenyatta to come back into the fight, and we're going to see them push again.
Penn State's in a very sticky situation here. They're going to need Joshua to really grind up that Transcendence because Switchu's got that grab online. So that means they don't have a defensive ult unless Kodama can get that sound barrier time. Looks like he might be able to get it, so if they commit that grab. But oh no, Retina's going to be out. And Amish, when he pops the Primal Rage, so he's fine to catch Joshua, so they wouldn't even be able to use the Transcendence anyway. Bomb comes in, doesn't matter, there's already 2 of them down, and that's going to be it for Penn State, as it's going to be, the point's going to go to Houston here. But not, I mean, it was 98 to 99.
I mean, it was so close at that point. It was just so hard. That's kind of why you can say that being at 98 is really great, but it's all about being able to flip it back. And if you don't have the ultimates ready, or if you're not going in as a team, or if you don't have that key Transcendence ult with something like Zarya that all comes up, it's so hard to get that point flipped back. And we see just how close it can get with HU Storm, just sneaking by for those last few percent.
All right, now we're in Lucio's playground. This is, well, there's that giant hole in the middle.
Look at that windmill, too. Just the observer with the beautiful windmill shot. Setting the scene once again in Ilios with how beautiful it is. I just can't resist how good it looks.
Shout out to our man Danny on the observer. I think this is his first tournament he's actually running observer for. He's doing an awesome job.
Doing a beautiful job, and then showing us the hole that Punz mentioned right after that. So you'll see everybody kind of running into the middle, and the idea is if you fall in that hole, it's not good for you. So we will probably see. So Lucio is the character that Penn and Remiel is on, and if they manage to push somebody in that hole, which we call booping them, we'll see if that happens, because we like to call those out.
Absolutely. Rena going to be falling early here, so you're going to see Hugh Storm kind of disengage here. There goes the there was the dynamite from the Ashe going into there, catching a little bit of that damage. So Hugh Storm playing a little bit on the defensive side as they wait for Retina to get back, switching onto the Hammond. So they're going to be, he's going to be able to get back a little faster than he was. Here comes the pile driver, going to land on top of the pillar instead of on top of the team. So they're going to be taking a lot of space here. Penn State getting pushed back. Kodama's going to be D-Max and Murr. He's going to be taken down now. So now it looks like the ball is in Hugh Storm's court as they kind of clean up here and only lose their Diva.
So, I mean, starting straight out, we already saw the red flip over coming up from the 10%, so we're going to see if the HG Storm can hold on to that with what they have. Penn State is in a pretty tricky situation right now with no ultimate economy coming up, and Soam still having Transcendence.
All right, so they're just passing where Penn State left off. So now it's a game of just holding it here and trying to make sure that they can maintain control of the spot. And we don't have a whole lot of changes on the side of Penn State. In fact, I don't think we have any. Here comes the grab. They're going to catch him on the quarter, but the Bob comes out. He's going to be saying, hey, buds, I'm here, and I'm going to be protecting my team. But Sujo gets caught out by a minefield. Oh no, they're going to be clipping through this team here, and now Penn State's going to have to fall back again and figure out a new plan.
Back again, so 45% coming up, and you see the HU Storm pushing up on the spawn of Penn State as they're behind that door right there, waiting for their team to come back. Joshua to come back on Orisa. However, you see the Zenyatta going out. He says, I'm ready, I'm behind the shield, it's fine. And now Penn State is going to make another push.
So I think the key thing here is they're going to have to be very lucky with this Diva Bomb here. They can use the sound barrier to engage. Here comes the Diva Bomb from Hughes Storm. Then a Pile Driver tried to stun him out, catches Sujo. Then there's Orisa's ult's going to be knocked out as well, as long with Joshua here. Vinpin going in and taking out Fantastic, and that's going to be a bit of a wipe here from Hughes Storm, but not before Swish, who gets taken out by Kadama, but to no avail. He's going to be back just in time.
Yep, so this is probably going to be the last big push that Penn State has to be able to make that, because you can see 85% creeping up on that game score to try and get to 100% as quickly as possible, and Penn State's going to be pushing their last time right here.
Right, they need to stop this before it gets to 100% here. So they're on the point. They got the rally out. They're going to be trying to keep their team up. They're pushing it back. Pile Driver in from Joshua. Oh no, he's off the map. He gets booped by Finpin. Diva Bomb goes and tries to zone them out, but now they're down a tank. They're caught in the grab. They're going to have Hughes Storm pushing in, catches 3. Now it's a point. It's all it is a matter of cleaning up, and Hughes Storm's going to be able to take this here as Kadama gets knocked into the hole. And no, not knocked into the hole, knocked into the minefield, and that's going to be it. And Hughes Storm's going to take the series.
And after that, we are going to have our last map of the day, which is going to be set up here in the next couple of minutes. So stay out in the crowd, enjoy, and we'll be showing you a little bit of what a for fun mode can look like as we see our play of the game from Vinpin on the Lucio. So we'll see what happens with that.
Let's see. Did he? Yep, he got Joshua into the well, along with a great sound barrier there. So that kept his team up there. And is he? I think he's going to push the Brig in. Bye, Brig.
Oh, goodbye. So we are going to take a temporary pause real quick, and actually we're going to take a 1 minute or 2 minute casting pause, and then we'll hop back in to talk a little bit more about what we'll be doing for the for fun match. And we'll be swapping it over, I think, to a 5-minute break to set up that map, because it's a little bit different than the other ones. So we'll see you guys in a bit.
Arriving at Shadow.
And we're back, and we're in a little bit of a for fun mode in a TDM game match, which is basically them trying to just get at each other as much as possible. There's no really goal here besides them just trying to blow each other up, right?
Yeah, so we have chosen team deathmatch here, but with a little bit of a fun twist. But we're not gonna spoil it unless they don't figure it out. So
and they seem to have figured it out very quickly. So what we did this time is that normally you're not allowed to pick. You have to pick different characters. So which means people can't play the same character. And in this case, it seems the HU Storm has figured out very quickly that you can play the same character if you so choose. As we see 3 Doomfists and 2 Roadhogs. And I'm curious to see if Penn State decides, hey, you know, we're going to jump in and we're going to do some silly stuff too. I thought it was going to be 6 Widowmakers if they found out, but no, they seem to have opted for Doomfist and Bunting things.
Yeah, so I don't think Penn State realized that that they could do this. So I wonder what kind of switches they're going to make. But yeah, that's a lot of Doomfist. And it's first to 100 kills or whoever has the most after 15 minutes, so we'll see what they're going to do to counter it. So I think we're going to see a lot of counterplay here. Reaper is going to be great against all these tanks. So here it comes. There is the Death Blossom, but falls to Joshua out there. And it's actually pretty even. I mean, it's 7 to 12. I mean, Q-Storm has the advantage, but they also have the advantage of realizing this is no limits.
So it's going to be pretty interesting to see if Penn State decides to swap off once they use their ultimates and try and do something a little different, as we see what seems to be a second Roadhog coming in. Petoya and Remiel picking up on it, deciding, oh no, we're going to try and do something similar as well.
Alright, yeah, so they're going to be cleaning up on the Roadhog there. Here comes the slam in. We're going to see a lot of these meteor strikes coming in from Hughes Storm. There's one, and he isn't able to catch anybody. Suja is going to take him out on Reaper.
Penn State picking it up and realizing, hey, let's go 3 Reapers. We're 4 Reapers. Alright, we're going to counter you guys, and we're going to do the exact same thing you're doing. As Smooty switches onto McCree, and it is now just a lot of Roadhogs versus a lot of Reapers.
That's the thing. Reaper could just clip right through Roadhog because as he shoots people, he actually gains health. So, you know, the more you try to fight against him, the more health he's going to regenerate. So it's a rough situation. I think Penn State's kind of cycling through different things, trying to figure out what the plan is. Smooty coming in with that flashbang and finishing off Ramil there. And I think they've figured out that they're going what, triple Roadhog and a Reaper, McCree, and Doomfist.
And then we have Joshua over on Ana. He's being a team player in this game mode, which is not very expected. This game mode does not usually do well for teamwork. However, you know, he's just going to go and nano somebody and see what happens.
So there it is, the nano comes out and he gets pushed away by Samza's whole hog there. And oh, look at that, that's 3!
The nano dumps the triple off of it. It's so the 9-player streak too on the side.
Only a deficit of about 10, so they could definitely come back. It's all about, like, you know, figuring out what the choice is here. So it looks like, I mean, we have some pretty consistent picks across the board. Hobbs hopping onto that diva now. I think he's going to try and farm a bomb. Or maybe just trying to defense matrix the Reaper. But it doesn't matter. Because Ramil catches
with
3.
A huge death blossom too. Managed to catch 3 on HU Storm's part as the lead goes to about 10 on HU Storm. Remember, we're going to 100 first, or whether 15-minute runs out, but judging by the way they're playing, I think we're going to hit 100 because you can tell they're having fun, they're going after each other, and they're just trying to see who can show off a little bit more.
I think we might have to set up that Widow headshot lobby because this is going to be pretty quick. I didn't realize how short 100 kills was, so there's the nano out in the Reaper again. He's going to be coming through, cleaning up. There's a quad!
Oh, fantastic! With the big 4-man.
That's a Beyblade if I've ever seen one right there. But now it's like like I said, it's pretty even. It's all about, like, you know, figuring out what kind of memes work.
Whose jokes are better? Let's see. As we see that it goes back up to 10, as it went up to 51 and then back to 50 because Vincent flew off the side of the cliff on Doomfist. He just couldn't resist himself.
As we saw Hobbs using defense matrix to protect himself from that Death Blossom there. I thought we might have seen another Death Blossom, but he didn't actually have it on deck there. So
pulling out Diva and this guy, come on, man. You're playing defense. This is all about no defense. It's all about going after each other as fast as you possibly can.
And I mean, at least it's not all break. Could you imagine
Oh,
if they just
if they just go the most defensive character possible and everybody's just swinging at each other real softly and the score's like 5-3, 10 minutes in. Well, we're glad that Penn State is making a big comeback. They were down 10 and now it's only a deficit of 3 as they seem to keep jumping on the jump pads for the fun of it. And Hobbs has his Diva mech here ready to go. He's going to throw out his ult, see if he can catch anybody. And he's able to catch one.
Oh man, throws it right in the air, and I mean that's all you gotta do. I mean we're not playing any serious game mode, so chances are if you throw a defense matrix, they're not gonna be main taggers. Look at this, we got
4 divas. Oh man,
we got the Korean Air Force here, right, with the 4 divas in their mechs, just waiting to just dive in on someone here.
About to try and ruin somebody's day. Just set up a defense matrix after defense matrix, fly up to each other, have a good time. As we see Swish here deciding not to do that. He says, I'm going to stay on the Korean. I'm going to call out some high moves.
All right, yeah, I think, I don't know about you, but for me, I love playing McCree in these fun games. You jump onto the jump pad, you pop that high noon, you're able to catch a lot. Fantastic catching all those mechs. Oh no, all those mechs is caught out. Now there's just a bunch of mechless divas running around,
shooting them with their pea shooters, just trying to catch them. And Joshua seems to fly off the cliff as Anna. Not quite sure how that happens. She's old. She's not sure where she's going sometimes, so she's just gonna have a good time.
Uh-oh, we got our first break.
Oh boy, one break. I see more.
Yeah. The no fun police.
This is now a no fun zone. I repeat, this match is very serious. But I only see one brick as we see 4 divas up with their ults. Oh boy.
I mean, this deficit is getting closer and closer. That was really close before that Diva Bomb, putting it about 5 points away. That's going to be about, it's still 5, 6, 7. Whole Hog coming in from Som is going to be pushing them away here. And, the Divas, I mean, I guess the Divas were a really smart choice here. But I mean, they kept on asking us, let's play Widow. Like, can we get a Widow lobby? This is at this point their choice. They're not picking Widow.
I mean, if they wanted their Widow lobby, they could be going 12 Widow. They could have had a gentleman's handshake at the beginning that said, hey, 12 Widow match. But Penn State's like, no, we're gonna pick up 5 or 6 right here. We're gonna make it a close game. It's only 4, and now 4 Brigittes on HG Storm's side. This is our worst nightmare, and I'm ashamed to be gasping this right now. I feel like I have to come down to it right now and request for switch because Ramiel picking up 2 of them, and I just there's 4 Brigittes, and
I think the score is enough of a punishment there as Penn State cleans up the Brigittes. Let's see if they stay on there. I mean, it's still pretty close. They've been at this deficit all game. We're getting, down to the wire, about 25 away from finishing this off here. And I think that you're going to see Hobbs just trying to farm that, Diva Bomb, because like right now it's about being flashy. You want to get that big, that 6K if you can. Whole Hog coming in, defense matrix stopping it. It's a game of 3 now, 4 or 5. And here comes the Diva Bomb. It's going to be
so
coming.
Close, and as you can see, they're just sneaking up on the kills for HG Storm. But 5 Brigittes now, and then 2 on the side of Penn State. We said it was going to happen, and now we have 7 out of 12 characters being the one that we discussed not wanting to have because they just love trolling us, and they know exactly what to do to make us say that.
Here comes the self-destruct from Hobbs. I'm pretty sure just to remake. Look at all that. And they're spinning their shields, there's flails. This is just...
It's everywhere. We can't even see what's going on. There's so many shields, and they're just swinging their flails. And it's a 3 different... as we get closer and closer to 100, it's just so close. Penn State just trying to sneak up there and get a couple extra to tie it out right now.
Yeah, you got Hobbs now on the loose here, trying to push it.
Huge
tire! Almost tied the Syria up.
This is a close game. This is what we're looking for right here. It's 91-91 tie game. First one to get 9 more to 100. Oh, this couldn't be better.
Oh man, now it is a matter of who can make the right decisions here. Storm taking it back only by 1 though. Here comes the Reaper. You don't have any ultimates yet, but you have Fantastic about to get that Death Blossom, and that could be deadly. That could be the thing that wins it out. Now it's a deficit about 2, but
And I want to see his death bosm come out. He's using it right now, see if he can pick anybody up, but no, Soames and the Rip Tire coming up huge for HU. Between Soames and HU, Storm just able to close it out at the very end. But man, you could tell they were having fun with it. They were just jumping around, having a good time, switching from comp to comp, and it was a close game, and I like to see that kind of stuff.
yeah, I mean, you like to see everything but all the breaks.
Everything but the 7 out of 12 breaks that happened to occur a couple minutes after we mentioned that it would probably happen.
There was that bomb, that tire that tied it up and really closed it in. Look at that, Kodama with that big play there.
Oh, that was a monster tire. So
Switch cleaning it up, MVP, and 85% of match on fire.
Spent the entirety of the game on fire.
Do we have time? Are we going into another one here?
So let's double check, and we'll get back to you in about 30 seconds about it.
Quick and let you know there is one more match. It was requested by the players. We'll leave it to be a surprise for the audience, but just give us a couple more minutes and we're going to have this last match up and running.
Traveling to Petra. Prepare for battle.
Hello and welcome to a very interesting match. We are actually stepping away from Team Deathmatch and now we are just in Deathmatch. It's going to be both the Penn State and the Hugh Storm players figuring out who is king. And just one moment, we're just going to be waiting for the lobby to start here. Awesome map here. We have it, and it looks like it's going to be going in. So let's go ahead and see what kind of picks that we have here. And I'm not sure if this is first to 50 or first to 20, but we'll be seeing this here. Sam's going in on that Roadhog, so a lot of interesting choices here. Sujo is going to be on that Genji here, looking to get some. Genji's really good for, like, you know, getting that last final kill. Fantastic is on the Torbjorn, getting 3. Look at that. This is very hard to spectate because there's a lot going on. It's okay. Here comes the pulse bomb. Oh no, Red Nova's got himself. That would have been rough here. Hobbs going to be killing himself with that E button of his. So we're going to be watching as Swishu comes in on top with 4 kills, and in the beginning it's going to be a lot of trading here, figuring out who's going to be number ones. I think everybody all the top players right now still have about 4 kills. Fantastic on that Torb though. He uses his Molten Core to go ahead and push forward, but you know, it's still anybody's game. Swishu with the lead right now. He's got that high new on deck. He's gonna dodge the Roadhog. He's not gonna go in and finish him off, but his kill is stolen by Smooty, who's blinking around and finishes him off. Still has that high noon on deck, but there's not a whole lot he's gonna be able to do with that unless he catches 2 people already in a fight. Sujo with that blade, that could be big here. Not going to be able to use it on the Tracer though. Going to be going after his teammate Joshua, but a kill is stolen again. Smoothie's all over the place, stealing kills as the blade comes out from Sujo. Gets caught a little bit in the Molten Core blast. Almost wasn't a whole dashes out of it. Going to be coming out of blade only with 2 kills, and Swishu is going to be the one to take him down now. Smoothie still in the lead, going in, just kind of finishing off people here, you know, left and right. Finds a sleeping Torb, throws his pulse bomb out, but Torb wakes up, jumps on the jump pad, gets up there, and now he's going to be focused on Kadama, who's using the Ana, trying to maybe get some fun sleeps here. Heals himself up with the Biotic Grenade, but Smooty, you know, oh no, he isn't able to recover any health with his recall there. The Torb Hammer comes in for right now. He gets one on the Kadama. Torb Hammer finally comes out, and Fantastic's gonna fall. How about that? Oh, that is 1 to the list with the Torb Hammers. Retna's got his turret up there, and he's on the hunt. He's got that Torb Hammer. He uses the Molten Core to speed up. He's going to be taking a couple shots here, but he's going to go low. Smitty's still in the lead, and Swishu not too far behind, gets caught out by the turret from Retna, but Retna's going to be he's going to be messing around, looking around, you know, maybe for another cheeky hammer kill. The whole hog comes in from Hobbs, isn't able to really catch anybody here. Swishu going to be catching Joshua out there. Smooty in the lead, taken by Swishu. No, he lost. I thought he was at 12 kills, but it looks like Swishu's the only one right now at 12 kills right now. But Swishu Smooty not too far behind with that 11 right now. He's trying to get the hammer, and he did. He takes Fantastic. This is his land. He's going. Oh man, with the hammer, that's got to be disrespectful, especially against another Torbjorn. Kodama coming in on the main deck. Going to be running the Reinhardt. Gets his head clipped off by Ramil. Pulse bomb coming in on Sam's going to be finishing him out. Here's all these ultimates. Like I said, there's so much going on. 13 kills. Is the lead. Sam's in the lead. Tatsuya is going to have 7. He's about halfway there. Like I said, I don't have a scoreboard here, so I can't tell you exactly everybody who's in lead, but that's okay. Tatsuya is going to be caught out in a Tracer duel that he's going to ignore. He's going to be pushing forward, going to be going after his teammates. It's very interesting to see as you play against your teammates. Oh no, the perfect right click from Hog finishes off Tatsuya. Now it's just a matter of figuring out. We have Sams here in the lead. Here's the scoreboard right now. Sams, Swishu, and Smitty being the ones on the top of the leaderboard, with Fantastic not far behind on that Torbjorn. So it's a good mix of Penn State and Hugh Storm players in the lead right now. Transcendence from Joshua just trying to keep himself alive. but that turn's going to be coming in. Now he's just going to have to try and avoid. Everybody gets caught in the hook, but thankfully jump pad pushes the Roadhog away before we can do anything to get him in. Holding that right click, trying to go ahead and get anybody. Smoothie's going to be going after everybody. Gets the headshot onto Smoothie. Isn't able to finish him off, but the Red is going to go ahead and catch him right there. Shatter comes in for Gadama and kills Redna with the Shatter itself, but he's caught out by Psalms, and that's the thing about these deathmatch situations. You could just pretty much be in the perfect position, killing as many as you can get, but someone's going to come up right behind you and finish you off. Sam's going to be jumping up. Now we have two Roadhogs up here on the top ledge. Are they working together? He's just following him right now. Do we have some camaraderie right now between the Roadhogs? Whole Hog comes in, Tracer blinks away. Joshua's getting caught in the corner with the Whole Hog. Vinpin's going to be called out on Tracer too. And I think, yes, we have the two Roadhogs. We're going to get a Pulse Bomb comes in. He's going to heal right through it. Tracer's trying to burst through, but it's going to be really hard with these two Roadhogs here. Switchy's still in the lead here with 17, but Sob's going to take it from him. Switchy with 18 now. It's going to be 18 to 18. This is between the two of them. Swishy's going to be blinking around, dodging Roadhogs left and right. Joshua getting clicked right there. It's 19 to 19. If this is at 20, I believe this could be it. Whoever takes the next kill is going to win. It's right now with another hammer. Does another hammer from right now. He's going to catch Ramil, and that's going to be it. Sam's taking the win here. It was 220 on that Roadhog, but you know what? I mean, come on, he was working together with, come on, he was working together with the other Roadhog. I don't think that was necessarily fair, but okay, he still takes the win, so he's going to be winning this FFA here. So, I'm just waiting to see what we're going to be doing next. I think we probably are going to be cutting it very soon, but before we go, I do want to thank you so much for coming out to the Harrisburg University show match for the Overwatch team between Harrisburg and Penn State. It has been awesome being here. My name is Puns and Buns. Chad is still away, but we want to thank you so much for being here, and we hope you had a lot of fun watching the Overwatch team play. And if this is your first time watching an Overwatch broadcast, I hope we brought, you learned something new and maybe had a little bit fun watching. But once again, like I said, I'm Puns and Buns. We're going to be cutting this broadcast. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.